We've looked at the components of communication. Now let's take a look at barriers to communication. The first type we look at are verbal communication barriers. Things like if you literally speak a different language, if you don't know the vocabulary or knowledge, information that someone is talking about, inappropriate use of expressions, over abstraction and ambiguity, and then we get into some more, they're verbal, but they're also mental. Differences in interpretation. You can literally have someone interpret the same word differently. And then polarization. I'm not sure why polarization is listed under verbal because it's really nonverbal. If you have someone who's extremely opposed to your viewpoint or ideas, it can be very hard to communicate with them because as soon as they hear what they don't want to hear, they shut down and stop listening. So the idea here, when we look at these, inadequate knowledge of vocabulary or information, inappropriate use of expressions, and even language differences, and somewhat differences in interpretation, those can all be addressed through audience analysis. Make sure you're aware who you're talking to, what do they know, what don't they know, and what are they all about. Over abstraction and ambiguity, be specific. Don't say, we need a lot of stuff to get this done. A lot of stuff is very vague. Okay, you need to be very specific. What exactly do you need to get this job done? And then polarization, actually audience analysis will help with that as well. If you know someone is going to be resistant to your message, you can address that early on and present your information in a slightly different manner. Taking a look at some mistranslated signs, these are just language issues. This one says, I like your smile, but unlike you, put your shoes on my face. I do not know what that was supposed to mean. This one says slip and fall down carefully. Obviously that means be careful or you might slip and fall down. A nice electric shock is sort of beware of electric shock. And then beware of invisibility. I'm not sure what that was supposed to mean either. A little bit strange. And my favorite one is a keep off the grass sign that says do not disturb, tiny grass is dreaming, which I think is brilliant because keep off the grass kind of sounds defiant, like it's daring you to step on the grass. But tiny grass is dreaming, that's going to keep you off the grass. Nobody's going to want to step on poor tiny grass. And nonverbal communication barriers, inappropriate or conflicting signals. If you've ever asked somebody a question and they say yes, but they're shaking their head no when they answer, that would be an inappropriate or conflicting signal. Differences in perception, again, not just the meaning of the words, but also perception of the situation. And then inappropriate emotions. I don't like the word inappropriate. I think just emotion is enough of it. You can be in a compromised emotional state and it can be very hard to communicate effectively. If you just had a death in the family, it's going to be hard for you to focus on anything else. If you're really upset, it can be hard for you to deal with a difficult situation or even just comprehend what somebody's saying to you. And then, of course, distractions. We're talking about physical distractions. Noise. There's construction outside the window you can't hear. So I'll let you read. The textbook goes into more depth on these. I'll let you read that on your own. But keep in mind when we're planning communication, we need to start thinking about what are the potential barriers that we might run into and how do we minimize them, if not get around them altogether. So very important concept, something we want to work on.